Good morning from Tuskegee National Forest again. So this morning I wanted to try something a little bit different that I've been wanting to try for a while. I don't know how well it will work, so let's find out, and maybe it'll work really well and be convenient, or maybe it'll just be really bad and won't work at all. Who knows? But I'm going to give it a try. So here we have the Yaesu ATAS-120A. This is the mobile screwdriver antenna that matches many of the Yaesu radios. So I think basically the 857, the 891, the 991, FTDX10, FT710. There's a lot of radios that work with this thing. So basically the radio controls it. It's motorized. The thing goes up and down. It's a motorized screwdriver antenna. Works great on my truck. So I've used this a lot mounted on my truck. But what I've always wanted to try is ground mounting it. Now this antenna requires quite a good ground. So I don't know if the ground spike will help with that. We're going to find out. And then I also have made a couple bundles of radials, so I think total right now I've got 8, which isn't, it would be better probably to do about 16, 32 even, would be a whole lot better, especially trying to ground mount a short vertical. So this thing, if I stand it on the ground, I'm 5'8", so it is just a little over 5 feet tall, and so it's a pretty short vertical, and right now I think I've got it extended probably to 20 meters if I had to guess just by looking at it. But yeah, so I think there will be some inefficiencies, obviously, some that just come along with it being a short vertical, and others will come along with the fact that I'm ground mounting it. There will be some ground losses, and I'm probably going to run about 50 watts this morning, so let's set it up and see how it does. Let me show you what I've got to mount it with. Here's the ground spike. This is a ground spike I bought off of eBay. I will link it in the description. Don't remember the brand, but they're pretty cheap. They take a long time to get to the US, but they're good for what they are. So all it is a ground spike. The spike itself actually comes off, and you can just use this top part if you've got the right thread on something, and then you can just use this as your connection to an antenna. But this is not any kind of balun or unun or anything like that. It's just a connection from the coax to the antenna. The top is a UHF mount. They also sell these with every other mount that you can possibly think of, so if you need something else, they've got it. These little screws right here are kind of hard to do with my thumb, but I can, and these are where the radials connect. So I've got 2 bundles of radials for 2 screws on the ground spike. Now this is just a BNC adapter because I use BNC coax when I'm in the field. So I've got a 90-degree PL259 to BNC connector. The 2 bundles of radials I've got here, got these little clips on them, and these clips right here will, let's see if I can make sure you can see it. There you go. Those will slide right up under those screws, so I don't have to take the screws all the way off. And each of these bundles has 4 12-foot radials. So set it up, see how it does. Okay, so there you have it. I've got it all set up. So the ATAS-120 is sitting on the eBay ground spike, and it's got 2 bunches of radials, one connected there, one connected there, and then yeah, that's really about it. Let's hook up some coax and see how it does. Okay, I've got the Yaesu FT891 set up. The ATAS-120 in the background. So I am now going to see if this will tune up on 40 meters, which is a little bit of a stretch. 40 meters is a struggle for this antenna in mobile installations. I normally get about a 1.5 to 1 on 40 meters with my Diamond K400 mount, which is pretty good. I mean, that's acceptable. But let's see how it does with a ground spike and 8 ground radials. So let me get this set and mash the tune button, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I think everything's good. Let's just do it. Well, the antenna's tuning. If you can see it there in the background, ever so slowly going up. That's a positive sign. Okay, it stopped. I've got about a 1.6 to 1. Hey, that's not terrible. I'm happy with that. That's about the same as it does on my truck. All right, so I'm ready to start my Parks on the Air activation. I've got my spot ready to put in, and I've actually gone to 30 meters. I was going to use 40 meters to start, but 40 meters is just really, really packed right now. If I remember right, I believe it is CWT morning, being Wednesday morning. I don't really want to bump into that. So I moved up to 30 meters and to retune to the ATAS-120. So it is right around 1.4 to 1 or so on 30 meters, which is excellent. So let's jump right into it. Start calling QRL, and let's see how the ATAS-120 performs on a ground spike with 8 ground radials. I have my radio set. Let's see, I'm actually going to change this right now. I think it's set to 100 watts. I'm going to roll this down to 50. I want to run 50 watts this morning, because that's really a power level that, you know, I would run more often in the field, conserve some battery power. So, all right, let's call QRL, see if we can be heard by this. It tunes, fantastic, but does it radiate? Let's find out. Okay, I'm going to turn my keyer speed. I'm going to roll 21 words a minute this morning. Close enough. All right, spot added. And let's see what happens. .339 from Pennsylvania. It's not terrible. There we go. Ah, gotcha. Thank you for the contact this morning. He's only about 5 miles away, so nice ground wave. And CWT has started, so it's slowed down. Virginia. I'm at 8 contacts right now. So far, I would say that this is working quite well. Better than I expected it to, honestly. I mean, yeah, I haven't gotten any DX. Okay, but it's also 30 meters. It's also early in the morning. I get. Good morning. Nice signal. Got somebody down there, so I can pull them in. All right, I'm going to call it right there then. All right, there you have it. 11 minutes on the air. So in 11 minutes, I got KN3A, KQ4CW, AC4FS. Sorry, my handwriting. K4JGA. You see, I mean, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Florida, Arkansas, Virginia, Illinois, Alabama, about 5 miles away, Ohio, West Virginia. Honestly, seems to perform quite well. I mean, subjectively. I made contacts. Band conditions probably are all right this morning. That definitely helps. But I'm going to pull the RBN numbers. So let's pull those and see kind of where I was heard. And here you have it. I'll let you judge for yourself. But I think that these distances and signal noise ratios are pretty respectable. All in all, I think the antenna did the job. One of the really, really important things to note is when you are doing something like Parks on the Air, where you're spotted. I mean, you're up there on a web page that people are actively looking for you. You can really get away with things like a compromised antenna because folks are looking for you. They know that you're there and they're looking for you. So in that scenario, you're going to make contacts a lot of times with really compromised equipment. Okay, so the ATAS-120. How did it perform for Parks on the Air? Well, obviously it's not a tri-band beam. Obviously it's not a full-size dipole. But, excuse the loud trucks going by. But I would say it performed quite well for what it is. So, can you put the ATAS-120 on a ground spike with 8 ground radials, set it up in 2 minutes, and have a great Parks on the Air activation? I think that you can. So remember, if you want to set this antenna up portable, the number one thing that you have to make sure that you get right is it's got to have a good ground. So here, it's got a good ground because it's got the 8 radials. That gives some ground. Also, the ground spike is serving as an electrical ground. So those two things combined are giving it what it needs to be able to tune. So you'll see if you go to any of the reviews or Facebook groups for this antenna, then you'll see a lot of the issues that folks have is with it not wanting to tune, and that's because it's not grounded well. So make sure it's grounded well. That's why I used a ground spike, not a tripod. If you use a tripod, you're going to have to fight it a little bit more, probably do more radials, etc. One thing I'll also note, my coax here, this is ABR 240 coax made by ABR with the red jacket on it. I do not have chokes in line on this coax. So my results this morning with 1.5 to 1 on 40 meters came down to like 1.2 to 1 on 30 meters. All of that, no RF burn at the radio or on the key or anything, was without any RF choke. So that proves that at least it is presenting close to a 50 ohm load and not sending RF back to the radio. So hey, I'm happy with it. So give it a shot. If you give it a shot, and let me know how it turns out for you. All of the things that I used with this antenna this morning are going to be linked in the description. I'll even link the wire that I used to make the ground radials and the ground spike, of course. So if you want to give this a try, then do that and let me know how it turns out for you. I'd be interested to hear if other people have similar results to what I had. All right, well with that, I'm going to sign off and head back. So 73 from W4ARB here in Tuskegee National Forest. I'll catch you in the next activation video.